Boom. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me now? If so, type it into the chat so I can see. Excellent. Yeah, I don't know these goddamn machines, man. My bad. I hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's good. Let me get the bumper. Hold on.
What did I teach you? You are Duke of New York. You're a number one. I can't hear you. You are the Duke of New York. You're a number one.
Awesome. Okay. Now that that's out the way. I hope everybody's been good. And you know, um, thanks to everybody for the birthday wishes on the 22nd. Big up to all the Aries season. Definitely thank you guys for that. Also happy True Year. You know, to everybody. Hope everybody's good. Brother J Bay said, is it good to stock up a 3-6 month supply or other support? Yeah, that's always good. It's always good to have extra, you know what I mean? Stuff that you can, stack away for yourself or whatever. That's always good. The white folk about to start killing each other in mass. World War III, France is mobilizing. LOL. Word. Yeah, man. Let them do it. What Yeshua say? Surrender unto Caesar what is Caesar's, right? Let them people pay their own debts, man. This is white on white crime. We don't have nothing to do with that. We don't have nothing to do with none of this stuff. I mean, we do, but we don't. We're in what's in legal terms is what's called held harmless. You know what I'm saying? We don't got to worry about certain karmic shit anymore. We done passed that threshold in the last Jubilee. So, you know what I mean? We could just kind of coast, you know what I mean, through the apocalypse and shit and watch all the shit burn up and down. But I don't think it's gonna happen in that manner. Any way that they project to you that it's going to end is just another scenario that they want you to entertain ending that way. And whichever one has the most votes, that's the one they'll go with. Nothing is as secure. The future is immaterial. It's constantly out of your reach, yet it's always in the future. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really I don't think you should get so related to their version of an ending that they had no um creation for in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like a lot of it is just people feeling like they gotta toe the line of what everybody wants them to do because this is how they've been trained. If you look up what a Pavlov's dog, like that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with people who have just been trained the right way. You know what I mean? Like if you was to grab a pen, right, and you flick the pen, like there's different ways to program people. Get them scared of you with certain shit. So let's say you write in and then you click in the pen, click in the pen, and then somebody tries to attack, then you just go and attack somebody with the pen, right? Stab them with the pen, right? After that, the person lives. Anytime they hear a clicking pen, they're gonna be, you know what I mean? They're gonna be like, they're not even gonna use. They're gonna go back to like Mont blocks and shit. They're gonna use pencils. They're not gonna fuck with pens like that. So that's what it is with people. You know what I mean? It's like if you train the people the right way, you can get these niggas to do whatever you want to do because they don't the higher functions of their brain have been so desensitized and devalued that they themselves don't believe that they have a high essential nervous system. They don't believe they have a higher central cortex. They don't believe that they have the ability to see beyond their own choices. So anything beyond the choice that they would make is wrong. You understand? Not because it's not a bad choice, but because they didn't make it. Where they learn that from? They learn that from how our parents were raised and how we raise our parents. And no matter how much we want to be, oh, I'm not going to do the way like we never do what we think our parents didn't do, and we don't. We just do what they did in our way of doing it. You know what I mean? So to fool yourself into believe that all you can do is strive to do it how you do it. That's it, regardless to what it is, whether it's nationality, whether it's birthright, inheritance, you know what I mean, crime, whatever you, whatever you're gonna do to do that, you're gonna have to do that to get it done. Whatever that is, whatever the end result is the culmination of you moving forward in time to get that accumulated outcome. That accumulated outcome cannot happen unless you do something physically to move it forward. This is what time travel is. This is what remember Sounds of Blackness when it said, as long as you keep your head to the sky, be optimistic, you can win, right? These are the songs we grew up listening to. What are we listening to now? You know, uh, Drop It Low, um, Pound Town, all this other type of shit that has nothing to do with even reality. Like the people that's created are not even real people. These are creations. These are aberrational golems or homunculuses that were just pieced together the way that Dr. Frankenstein put all the dead bodies together and then reanimated it with eels and shit. You see what I'm saying? Which is an allegory as to how evil is accumulated because nothing can come from a dead carcass. You understand? Everybody's channeling the dead, channeling the dead. How you channeling the dead? And the dead don't know nothing. They can't know anything in this reality. They can only know what we know in this reality. So if you believe in the concept of ghosts and things like that, like those things can be real, but what if you looked at it out of the spooky aspect and looked at it as transcending or trans uh transmutating realities intersecting one another, and people that have certain sensitivities are able to pick up on those frequencies. You see what I'm saying? Just like a machine, like all the machines, all the Teslas that's picking up ghosts and shit in the graveyard, all of the video cameras that's showing people walking through the house that's not dead. Like that doesn't mean that those things are ghosts. That just may mean that the space that entity and that place exists in are intersecting at a point that you're seeing, that you might be seeing, or they're overlapping to the point that it appears as a ghost, it appears as that, when in actuality you might be seeing like if you have like a picture, and then in that picture you then trace the picture, right? And then now you have two pictures, right? But the traced picture, right, is not the original picture, but it's still a picture. You understand? And when you bring them together, you can bring them apart and then you can see the difference in that, right? But then when you bring them all together to the point that you traced it, now they're seamlessly in one reality. But all it takes is you to just move a little bit to the left, and now the whole picture looks like it's two. You see what I'm saying? So now multiply that by billions. You see what I'm saying? That's the type of reality, the type of structure or lattice that we really exist in. They want us to believe it's confined to a third dimensional space, which then explains why they are so body and sex fixated, because that then keeps us literally grounded into their version of it. What are they channeling? They are channeling. Well, before I get into all of that, let me say this real quick. Hold on. I want to say honors and condolences to the family of Sister Rashida Bay, who is the teacher of generations of Moors, you know what I mean, throughout the country, you know what I mean? And most of the Moorish literature, or like when you go back and look at the old Clock of Destiny stuff, the old Great Seal stuff, the original stuff, all of that was helped compiled and actually Xeroxed. Like when niggas used to use Xerox machines, like on paper that she provided. You understand what I'm saying? Um, and made sure that the Moors had what they needed to do and understood how to do things in a proper fashion. You know what I mean? She's been the teacher of anybody you can name, you know what I mean? Worth they salt, you know what I mean? But a lot of these guys, they don't ever want to give respect to the, they say, oh, it's a matriarchy, but then the real matriarchs that's out here, these niggas is not really even really talking about like that. You know what I mean? I was blessed to be able to, you know what I mean, be in her presence and sit in her little, well, on the app. I got a video of me in her crib. You know what I mean? Um, you know what I mean? Like, this is a real dignitary type person. And as much as we give respect to all of the other elder Moabites that was in the first temples, like Pearl Bay, and, you know what I mean, Sister Morgan Bay, and them type of Moors, Sister Delilah, um, L, and all of those that kept the temple going. Like, a lot of us didn't have the chance to grow up then, but we got to grow up in this time. And a lot of us didn't even have our families, our own mothers or grandmothers that was even into this enough to even validate the fact that what we was doing was the right thing. But she was always the one that would be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, she was basically everybody that was anybody's grandmother or mother. And she the one who, like I said, in secret, a lot of these niggas was talking to, a lot of these Moors was learning from, a lot of these Moors are getting inspiration and knowledge. You know what I'm saying? This is a woman who's in the first temple, you know what I mean, as a little girl, you know what I mean? So for her to pass on True Year's Day, you know what I'm saying, March 22nd, was just really, really wild. You know what I mean? I'm just, like I said, I'm just humbled and glad that examples of true womanhood, true matriarchy, you know what I mean? All that stuff that they say they be talking about, that was this woman right here, you know what I mean? So, honest to her and her family. I'm gonna try to find if there's a way for anybody who wants to send them donations directly, they could do that. I'll post that on the app or whatever. So I definitely just wanted to, get that out there because she was a real one, you know what I mean? And too many of our real ones be going, and these new neophyte niggas be trying to come in and then, you know what I mean, trying to hijack or try to act like these people didn't exist or use aspects of what they brought forth. You know what I mean? So I was never one of those type of people. So if we don't honor our own, who's gonna do it? You know what I mean? And like I said, I remember being in her presence, and she welcomed me into her home. Me and the Moors that traveled with me, and one of the biggest people that you would ever see in the so-called Moorish community. Her who was there, she came through, and she was kind of not really feeling him being there. So she said, "Well, you know what I mean. You can stay, but you're gonna have to sit over there in the corner and not say nothing." And that's my word. For an hour, we was there for an hour, maybe 2 hours. That nigga sat right there, didn't say a word. And I'm saying this is you know what I mean. And I'm not trying to think, but I'm just trying to let you know you could, the internet shit is whatever, but those of us that's been living this, you know what I mean, prior to the internet, going back to the 90s, going back to the 80s and shit, like there's really a way that's supposed to be done, and everybody know who's supposed to know. So that was what showed me the type of respect this woman, you know what I mean, had, because she didn't have to do that. And then, like I said, made us fool, like, great. You know what I mean? When Obama first got elected, he made sure that they had people, you know what I mean, outside cribs so niggas wasn't trying to come through and all of that because they know. The ones that need to know, know. So this is what I'm saying. So, like I said, man, she's just a representation of a lot of the elders that have gone. However, we the elders now. So we gotta, you know what I mean, do and learn from they situation. So moving on, um, again, honest to her and the family, as well as anybody else that lost anybody this year, whatever. But as we were saying, everything is just coming down to a point. Uh, well, first, brother JC says, so you're saying that all the necromancy, Moors, and voodoo niggas is dealing with farms? I'm saying that the things that they say that they are dealing with and calling upon have no vested interest of being truthful with them in their exchange. Meaning that if I'm an incorporeal spirit, I can be anything. You know what I mean? But if the only way that I can come into this realm is by assuming, see what I'm saying, an identity of something that is reminiscent to what you want or your desire or what you want to see, right? That now is the beacon that I can use to transliterate myself into that. And then because I am a so-called faceless, formless being, I can download whatever information I want out the damn cloud to convince you that I'm this person, that I'm this entity, that I'm this grandfather, that I'm this grandmother. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying you'll never really know. Even when these niggas is doing sacrifices to Moloch, they doing sacrifice. You don't know if Moloch getting that. How you know? How you really know? Because it manifested before you out of the sulfur and shit with the horns and it looked like it. If it looked like what you trying to manifest, that's not it. It can't be. It can only take, like, there's a comic book character called Galactus, right? And Galactus eats worlds, right? Allegedly, he was created by Phil Valentine, by the way. Anyway, um, he eats planets and stuff, right? So for him to eat these planets, he got to create this whole machine and all this other type of stuff. So before he want to do all of that, he got to make sure that the place he trying to eat is good. So he send his peoples out, make sure the planet's good to eat. Then he come back and he come eat it, right? When he come eat it, whatever planet he on, the people see him the way they all see him. So if he come to Earth, he might look like Galactus. But if he go to Mars, he might look like a giant Martian. If he in the moon, he might look like a giant moon person. You understand? Giant rock person. You understand? Because it's an immaterial being that's taking the form of whatever it needs to assume to get some sort of access to this realm. Because once you're gone, that's it. Like they trade, like I said in one of the earlier videos this year, I was talking on that basically they traded their heavenly stations to become physical beings down here, so they could have sex with women and do all types of shit, create different species and strains of beings and shit. All of the stuff that we dealing with now, these niggas was doing this in the heyday. Okay, is what they've been doing because that's all they knew how to do, because the creative force that manifested all of this stuff that we exist in, that we're calling reality, is just one form of matter. But the fourth state of matter, as they say, is plasma or plasmoids. That's the shit that actually binds everything together. So they had to stop talking about ether because that led to too many people getting free energy. See what I'm saying? Because people, the natural instinct of the human being is to rise above obstacles and benefit from the knowledge of them to then create something better. See what I'm saying? To then create another obstacle for that, and then so-called human being, which is what? A light band, a photonic manifestation, right? Of an idea that has taken form through breath, right? Through through earth, right? Through fire, right? And then through, like I said, ether, and then plasma, because that's what binds it all together, right? So that's the arm, leg, arm, and head. We think it's always just the body we talking about, when each one is really regaled to a different aspect of the physical makeup that make us. You know what I'm saying? So these things that these people be calling on, I'm not saying they're not these things, but I'm saying that you would never know if they were or not. And there's a reason why you got to go through so much shit to bring these things here. You understand? Like you ain't gotta go there. You ain't gotta go that hard. You dig what I mean? To achieve true knowledge, because it's coming from the divine source that's within. But that divine source, whether you calling it Yad-Hey, Wad-Hey, right? You have a place where that concept can be created in a graven image, right? That is then used, right? And imbued with energy that allows it to become a magnet for other energy to then propel it into a state by which it can almost become real by the constant uh, 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 focus of the people. And then when you start adding blood and ritual to the shit, what do you get? You get what it is that you're trying to create. And now you are now in league with this thing, because now you've built up so much energy that whatever fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional, sixth dimensional thing is spiraling to a lower dimension, right? It can now anchor itself to that and now become that. And now this becomes your god. This becomes your expression of faith, when the truest expression of faith is how good you can treat the people you see every day in real time, not on Sunday, not at the masjid, not at Shabbat, not at the festival, not at the ritual. You're supposed to always do that. So like some Moors, like a Moor hit me up and was like, yo, you think Moors should be doing Ramadan and all that? And I said, well, the Prophet never said anything about doing Ramadan. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yeah, that's true. I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah. So I'm saying, well, you could do it if you want. It's an observance. You know what I mean? But you doing it during this time is you putting yourself, right, and in the same spiritual time of people who don't necessarily occupy the same. We all occupy the same spiritual space, but the expression, right, the cultural aspect of that is totally different, right? Think about this. Who would you think is more pious? The person who eats like a glutton all year long, and then Ramadan come, they stop eating, they go to the thing, or Lent come, they stop drinking and stop eating pork, and then they go for the thing or whatever, and then at the end of Lent and Ramadan, they go back to doing the same thing. Who's more that? The person who fasts for that little time, or the person, or somebody who basically fasts every day? What is fasting? It's the prolonging of eating. What is that doing? It's going to produce more insulin. It's going to produce more things, because the body is actually working within itself. As long as you're staying hydrated, you understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying don't eat, right? I'm just saying that we live in a culture where food is a luxury. The gluttony of food has become a luxury. So anytime, any second you feel hungry, you could just go eat. Think about that. At any second, right now, any one of us that's listening to this could just get up and go eat something and come back and don't even finish it. You don't even have to finish it. You could leave it there to the next day, which means what? You got food for the next day. Think about how good you got it. You think them niggas in Gaza doing that, eating like that? You think the people in Yemen's eating like that? You think the people in West Papua New Guinea eating like that? Well, they might, because they still in the forest and shit, so they know how to still live off the land and all that. But all the people I'm talking about, they're trying to bomb these niggas into the Stone Age, make ways for casinos and shit, so you guys can go over there and film videos and have TikToks and all of that on the new Riviera beach on the Gaza. The Gaza's the new French Riviera, right? Look, mark my word, 10 years from now. You know why? Because it's all part of the play. It's all part of the thing. They believe that they are the original uh Yehudas, Utahs, right? They believe that. So when you tell them about the Kagan in the year 800 that the Moors went to and then gave him the option of choosing the so-called religion, he chose the Hebrewism because it just so happened to be those Moors happened to be Hebrew that he was learning from. But the Moors, when they discussed, when they were talking amongst themselves about the trek that it took to get there, it was like going through hell because these people was literally defecating on themselves to keep warm. They was living in holes. They would all defecate in the holes on top of each other to create, so that way when the feces hardened up, it would create like a covering for the hole for the you know what I'm saying? They would wear their underwear and shit like that to literally disintegrate it into them. They didn't take baths, but this is the people. This is them. So more so, okay, we'll give them a religion, but we can't give these niggas no land now. That's asking too much. We can't be giving these niggas no land. Can you imagine? And so that's what happened. They was able to control territory but not own no land. So the only way they could convert their economic sanctions into something profitable was to create housing stores. Those housing stores eventually went on to be banks. And then those banks, you see what I'm saying, that were basically funded by holding Moore's old Moorish nobility money. And then they were able to charge a fee to themselves. And then once they did that, other Moors found out, because these Moors is already fighting amongst themselves, right? They already at war with each other. They already practicing bleaching games to be able to breed each other out. So why not use the the cut Khazars or whatever to do whatever we gotta do. You know what I mean? In the meantime, you know what I mean? Taught them the game, and then what happened? They started practicing usury, right? Right away. And that's how they was able to come up. But then with that usury, when those Moors went destitute, and then they amalgamated children, then took power. Once those amalgamated children ran up the tally, ran up the debt, then they made sure that all of those children were married into those so-called Slavic families that they were now freeing and giving stations of nobility under stewardship, right? They bring them together. Now that generation is the generation they can own, because now they got to take the debt. So now they can basically institute what type of schools they want, what type of this they want, right? What zones is going to be for the Khazar peoples and stuff like that. And then they say, you know what? We like the taste for this. We gonna franchise this. And that's when Amshel, who's basically we look at pictures of Amshel Rothschild, a light skinned mulatto nigga, look like that old black man that was in Doom. Being all in movies with the old light skinned black man with the beard and shit. He looked just like that nigga without the beard. Anyway, uh, old light skinned Amshel Rothschild got his sons, got them out there, and then they took under the Roth shield, was the red shields, right? And then from the red shield, because they were shielded by the red, they were under the red banners. Those red banners were of those Moorish families, or those converso families that were able to still maintain a certain degree of money so long as they appeared to practice Roman culture. And they did that. They did that, but it got to the point where it started to bankrupt because everybody owed them. And then what they would also do is they would fund a lot of the illicit type of thing. Like when you look into the Weimar Republic and all of that, that's where all of this decadence and stuff like that was happening. Any place that they owned all of the porno stuff, they owned all of the stag bars, the brothels, all of that was being run by them. And they used that illicit money basically to keep the goyim, because that's what that's what they call all of y'all goyim. So the goyim is then, which means human cattle. So the goyim or the goy, they got to be put to the side so that way we could extract all the shekels, which is the money, out of them, and give it to the synagogue. But here's the irony. The irony is that the guys I'm talking about that's doing this, these niggas is atheists. They don't even believe in none of this shit, but they ready to do it to get this money, and that's the problem. Everybody, the guy who funded Israel, the guy who Charles Herzl and all that, he was a devout atheist. Some people even say he was a Satanist. This is the guy who was fighting, that created the Lehigh and all of these groups that went out there and took over. They took over through terrorism, through bombings, through burning people, through all of that. The night of it, all that shit that what's his name was doing. That's light work. These niggas, cause remember, all of the Nazis was able to get out after World War II. Y'all know that. We know that. The CIA shit they just put out just told you who killed Kennedy. The same shit we've been saying. That's the shit that be killing me. Everything that they've been telling me through the years that I've been crazy, that I'm a conspiracy theorist, and all this shit is the truth. Because everybody that you seeing in modern TV, all that, they're descended from Paperclip. They got all of them out. You understand? This is not a theory. This is what happened. This is history. And those people and their children and their way of life became the Fourth Reich. You understand? Here in the rest of the world. Like you can't spell Ashkenazi without spelling Nazi. Think about that. Think about that. Now again, this is not against the Ashkenazi greater people in general. Like I grew up around them people, just like they grew up around me at the heights of shit like Gavin Cato. People don't even know who that is. There was a little boy that they ran over, and then when they found out the nigga who did it, they wound up before he could get tried anything. He was on a plane right back to Israel. It sparked off riots. I lived through all of this shit. You understand what I'm saying? When Black Power was real, like it was Black Power was real to me. This time, you understand? Because we growing up around this polarization. Fucking Do the Right Thing was out. Like, come on now. We was just everybody had the Malcolm X hats. It was a thing. They really was pushing. We was gonna make it. Eyes on the Prize was always on Channel 13. These niggas was like Gil Noble was on TV. You could watch black intellectuals talk about money. Like it, we had it all. Really, we really did. But what happened? What always happens? Niggas sold out. You know what I mean? The small hat community cashed in, and they kicked the money upstairs to the handlers, who's everybody handlers, the white Freemasons, the Jesuits, whatever, and then they kick it up. See what I'm saying? To the overall globalists. These are the producers of the film, right? They the ones get their name and shit on it, right? And then the silent partners, right? These are the niggas that we never see. These are the Orsini, the Aldombrani, the all of those types of people. You know, so like I said, on your screen, this Yad Hey Wad Hey and all of that, like that became the energy, right? And then those groups of people who decided that that's what it was going to be, that's what it was going to be, but that's not what it started out as. It started out as a storm god that was just there for the storm, and they used to invoke his name to in their raids when they would go rape and pillage, right? When they was trying to take over Canaan. And once Canaan and all that manifested now as the bush, and then referred to itself as I am, which is really the tetragrammaton, right? That tetragrammaton, which is basically arm, leg, arm, head, is manifested again in the five elements, right? And then comes together in the middle, which is what? The pentagon, right? So each corner, again, representing a phase or a cycle, right? But it's also a 90-degree angle. So then you're bringing in the element of duality, right? Because angles of light always travel, you know what I mean, in certain elements, right? But if you were to focus them, they would always basically come together at one point. So we, being manifestations of these things from the very beginning, as the I would say prehistoric archetypes of these things, we cannot be defined as being um, um, made. Like we can only be created. You know what I mean? In such harmony with everything around us that we were blessed with the ability to harness all of this cosmic radiation at one point, and then create other beings and give them and bless them with the ability to do so. Right? Upgrade these things. Because see, the other thing about it is we're the only 100% human according to their science. Their science is saying this. We're the only ones that's 100% human. Everybody else is about 90%, 97% human, and then the 5% is some other shit. The other shit is either the Neanderthal, Denisovian, something not human. You understand? So what does that mean? That means human rights for me is not necessarily human rights for thee. This is why they had to practice reverse and try to make us the animals. Because remember, these things are being manifested in front of us out of a time period that we have really no understanding of. As much as these people have talked to us about black history and all this type of shit, it's only our history. Only people like me and people of our ilk were the only ones telling you and discovering that these buildings that they saying that we had to integrate, those was our damn buildings anyway. That none of these buildings that was here, whatever, when these white people was getting off the boat, how is it they was getting off the boat and then owning the buildings at the same time? That don't make no sense. How is it that when we look at all these old damn pictures of all of these things, everybody wearing the same damn clothes? How does that make sense? How is it that it looks like people just walking around and just always turning around, just happen to just look at this person with this camera and just keep it moving? Why does it always look staged? Why is everything with this history shit they tell us staged? And why is it when we challenge the narrative of that, it becomes that? Why? Because we are now in a time where everything has been reversed. You understand? Everything is reversed now. I told everybody this was coming back in the days. I did this video in 2003, 2004, maybe even earlier. But those who got it know it. And in the video, I went in explicitly and told people that the whole, like, got into the whole Black Hitler thing, the whole Black Sun Thule thing. All of these orders and structures and stuff that were created as byproducts of the real thing to keep the overall mechanism of everything going. We can't utilize the buildings the way we used to, so we'll just use them the way we can. You understand? So we can't power this ether fireplace and shit no more. So just break out the flume and throw some wood in that shit, and we'll just try to stay warm through that. Did it work? No. Thousands niggas, hundreds of niggas burning, freezing to death in these castles. We never froze to death. They say, oh, well, the European nobility and these people didn't bathe and they didn't do this and do that. Really? 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 We'll get to that in a minute. So in Black Nazi, like I was saying, you see how far I go back. I got Condoleezza Rice on the damn cover. So this was in the Bush era I came out with this shit. You know what I mean? This is before Obama. This is before Trump. This is before Biden. You know what I mean? So what the enemy does is it uses everything that makes you great and then puts a spin on it and it gets you to hate it, and then he pick it up and then act like it's his. You understand? That's been the overall play for the past 38 years. What we have to start to understand is that all of the American history wars that they've told you about, right, are all the same war against us. This is what I've been telling people for years. And throughout the circumstances, different parts of us decided that the only way out was to conform and break away and use an aspect of us, an aspect of that, to make themselves almost a little bit more palpable than the greater group of us. So they hate Moors, but they're okay on Indians, but they love Negroes. See what I'm saying? So we're forced with starvation. What are you gonna do? Which one are you gonna choose? Your whole family dead. The whole you're watching Zeppelins burn up and melt buildings that's been around you, that you grew up, that your great grandfather grew up around. watching Zeppelins and shit burn up, watching them drop propane tanks on your oil fields and shit. What are you going to do? Then after it, the terms of surrender is if you want to stay and you want to live, you got to accept this thing. Where they get that custom from? They got that custom from when they first invaded in 1492. It all go back to Grenada, y'all. I don't care what these niggas want to tell you. I don't know what these niggas want to try to with. If you're dealing with history, it's always, if you want to deal with where the world was and when it fell, it always goes back to 1492. No matter what country you're in, no matter what part of the world that you're, whatever. It's always go back to this nigga Columbus, these goddamn ships, right? It's goddamn smallpox, right? It's goddamn conquistadors and whoever. That's it. Why? Because we were invaded. This is what we've been saying. If you look back at the last 4 tapes, 4 videos before this one, you see the build up to what I'm saying is what we've been saying. The Moors are not. We can't be responsible for everything. We can't. We are on paper because the surrender of Grenada exists. That is proof to show that we on file was the last niggas up until even through the Barbary Wars. We were still applying pressure to these people, enslaving, killing millions of them, all to put ourselves back into some semblance of a people. But we could never do that because now we were invaded, like I said, by all of these other different countries. Why you think all of these different people keep coming to this country now? Why you keep thinking they keep banging you in the head? This is a country. This was made up of this country was made up by immigrants. No, it wasn't. Because there was a country here before they got here. They assimilated into a government that already existed. There was no settlers. They settled in land that was already occupied. But they were able to do that because they paid money and they agreed to be indentured servants for these so-called European Moors who had all of this gold, all of this luxury, all of these castles, all of these horses, all of this technology, right? But they didn't have soap. They didn't have soap though. Like, where they was getting ostrich feathers in Europa from? Where was they getting oranges from? How was Louis XV getting pineapples? What pineapple vineyard exists in France in 1500s, nigga? You tell me. Where they getting all this stuff from? How they finding American Manuka honey in the tombs in so-called Egypt? How's that happening? Thank you, Moore. He said the Moors. Exactly. So even our enemies, so they take what you make you great and they turn it into something negative. They start calling you Sambo. Why? Because the god of Southeast Asia is Sambo Judaism. Sambo. There was no god higher than Sambo among the Naga people, among the Mon people. There was a people called the Mons. Think about that. And from December to April, they would follow their trade winds from one side of the world, and then from April to September do the same thing. The Mon people, right? These are Moors. These are precursors to the Ainus and all of them, and the Yomans and them, who's the real Southeast Asians that can then trace their lineage back to the Khoisan people, right? Who's the progenitors of the so-called Chinese race. This is what the Chinese geneticist found out, and he was heated. I watched that interview. That nigga looked shaken. He was like, I was really trying to find blah, 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 but it turns out that we're actually the mutations. This nigga almost choked on it. So that ain't me, that's them. So if they didn't create anything, how did they create the KKK shit? How did they even create that? They did it. They just swapped the costume, put different niggas under it. So when the Moors first got kicked out and the Huguenots and them didn't want to leave and all of that, you had what they call, boom, to the speaking of the parade, the Negro Brotherhood of Seville in 1926, Arthur Schomburg, right? at the Carnegie Library. Boom, boom, boom. It was only human to wish the entertainment garments of the Brotherhood of Negroes, observing the similarity to the robes and gowns used by the KKK of our country. To all appearances, the American organization copied the dress, right, of those believers in Christ, meaning that they took it from the Moors, right? But these Moors in Seville wasn't hanging niggas. They wasn't doing none of that when they was dressed like that. They was dressed like that because they were ashamed that they were forced to convert. And so they created an order amongst themselves to commiserate and remember how beautiful and everything Granada was. And so when they were forced to have to now, through the Inquisitioners, go outside and venerate the so-called Christ, right, Yeshua, they tended to do it in the habit. So that way they didn't show their face, right? It was a form of protest, niggas. It was a form of protest. And what did the cracker do? See, make you hate it. Make you hate it. So if he did that with the KKK shit, imagine what he did with the Confederate flag. Imagine what this nigga did with the American national flag. Imagine what he did with the what you call it, Articles of Confederation, everything else. That's all this nigga do is turn it up, switch it up. And then on your left, this is this nigga Kanye. This nigga Kanye got a full leather black. You understand me? This nigga got a full leather black KKK uniform. Did the whole interview like this, nigga. Are you crazy? This nigga is off the Richter and got an iced out swastika. Nigga, he killed the game. He has killed the game. None of y'all nobody, no one, not Chuck D, not none of these people got that much heart. He's either insane, right? Or he's doing the same thing that they've been doing. He's reversing the psychology. He's gonna make it in a generation. Niggas ain't gonna care about the Klan. Who care about the Klan now? Who really care about the Klan? The Klan just had a meeting the other day. Niggas came through with the hammers, ran them niggas out of there. Police stood right by. This is in Trump America. Stood right by and watched the niggas, ran them off with the heat. Think about what I'm telling you, man. Who care about these niggas? What racism? how are you? Who's going harder? Who's going harder? And guess what? He got more money now. How does that work? How does it work? What he's showing you. And again, I'm not advocating for this nigga, right? At the same time, I'm not against him neither. You understand? I'm rooting for whoever exposes the rats. That's who I'm rooting for. Whoever, if they white, if they black, if they trans, I don't care. If you're exposing what the hell these niggas is doing, I'm gonna support that. Nobody is doing this type of shit. This is the illest performance art you'll ever see in your life. Ever. Nobody. Who has done anything in hip hop harder than this? Nobody. Then the nigga freaked it. I'm watching it in almost disbelief. The nigga said, "Well, when they see this, they equate it with hate, right?" He says, "Oh, really?" He says, "So they hate it." He says, "So it's okay for them to make billions of dollars off of my black pain, but the minute I then showcase and freak their pain, now they got a problem with it. Isn't that crazy?" Yes, Kanye, that's crazy. That is crazy. And this is why they don't like niggas like this. Because now what happens is, again, everybody know your great granny know Kanye. Your great granny used to watch fucking Donda and him on Oprah B. You understand? You can't you make a get Cosby. You know what I mean? But you can't get him the way that they think. Cause you niggas already predicted him. You put his name on the David Bowie album cover back in the days. That's when you was already preparing us for the shit. You understand? This is long-term programming they was working. Hold on one second. Steezy, can you mute yourself? Just want to make sure everybody muted. Everybody hear everything, right? No problem. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So this is in real time. So what I'm showing you is how time is being manipulated and how this Nazi seed, the reason why it won't go away is because that is who the deep state is. The conglomeration of all of the so-called ex Spetsnaz Nazis, right? Who were also the ones who backed the funding of so-called Israel. It's all of them together. This does not mean that every person of that lineage or of that culture is down with it. It can't. You understand? That would be stupid. But it is to say that they have been benefiting from the work that these niggas have been doing for all of this time. Okay? That's the issue, B. So again, everything that they using, so from the KKK shit, that's Moorish. The Confederate flag shit, that's Moorish. The Civil War was really the war against the Moors. Like all of this has been the same war. They call it the French Indian War. They call it the this, the that. It don't matter. It's the same war against you. The stripes on the banner represent all of the nations that gave their blood to the circumstance, to the endeavor. France, Britain, Belgium, Germany, uh, Austria. See what I'm saying? And then the other two, Portugal and Spain and Italy. See what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what's really going down with that. All of that is pretty much a wash. So like I said in the Black Nazi thing, again, I was trying to show and prove that a lot of these things that they refer to as the Thule Society, the Black Sun Society, those were organizations that were created outside of the purview of the basic German government, basically to be able to create a circumstance for them to have their own projects, their own sub government within the government, which is basically what the deep state and these niggas have been doing now. And they did it all through the bureaucrats. That's why they want you to have beef with people that's trying to audit these people, but then they have no problem hiring 87,000 fucking IRS agents with license to kill to come and audit you. Like that's crazy. But y'all niggas is mad at 5 or 6 geek squad employee niggas that's coming in with glass Coke bottle glasses and shit. Like this is the niggas who y'all trying to barricade the building for. You're bugging. Y'all wilding. Like your psychosis is showing. You understand? It has nothing to you don't even care. You don't even care. This nigga, and that's why when the nigga said it, I was like, you right, nigga. You could cure AIDS today, nigga. It don't matter. It's already over. They've already decided. And again, they was coming out against the so-called original man, right? Oh, y'all are the ones that didn't vote for Kamal Order. Turns out what happened? Niggas voted for her more than anybody else. Everybody else didn't vote for her. The women, everybody else. So again, what does that say? It says what we've been saying. There's a confirmation bias when it comes to anything dealing with specifically traditional ideas: man, woman, child, family. That's a no. Masculinity, no. Women supporting men, no. Family, men and women supporting the child equally, no. These things have to go. It just making sure. It went off thing again. Can you make sure it's muted, bro? Brother Steezy, can you make sure it's muted? I don't want it to pop up while I'm talking, just in case, because sometimes I can't hear it. If not, I gotta shut it down. I can't have no thing. Anyway, Project Stargate was the organization that they used to manifest remote viewing, to be able to look into other people's places outside of time and be able to access secrets, find people, things like that. There's a movie called The Men Who Stare at Goats. You can go check that movie. Talks about it. This is a precursor to MK Ultra, which was created again as a product. Okay, cool. As a product that was able to be marketed, mass marketed. And so they gave it to Hollywood and everything else. So MK Ultra, all of this stuff came out of the CIA. The CIA came out of the OSS. The OSS was the bridge point after World War II in which the military industrial complex, the billionaires, the globalists, the high Satanists, and all them niggas decided to get together, right? And then once they were able to pull off the biggest information dump, they would then work that together. So the preparation for that on the religious end was to use psychological means. So they needed people to be psychologically open for all of the post-hypnotic suggestion shit that they was going to start to put in media, put in the water, put in the food, everything else. So this is where the rock scene came in. I always tell people, get the book Wild Scenes in Laurel Canyon. Get the other book, The Conspiracy Against Rock. Get the other book, CIA and the Rock and Roll Menace. Um, get these books because it shows you that all of these musicians that we see that were randomly picked, 90% of them are orphans. 90% of the people in government are orphans. 90% of the people in entertainment are orphans. 90% of the people in law enforcement and shit, orphans. Okay, they've been doing this from the beginning. So the question is, where they getting all these orphans from? Well, it's all one big system, but it all goes back, like I said, to people like Jack Parsons. When Jack Parsons signed up with them, created the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which was the precursor to NASA. By this time, Warner von Braun had already been in America. He had already been working hand in hand with Walt Disney. They had already been working together. You understand? He and about 750,000 of these goddamn Nazis. You know what I'm saying? Brought them up through Argentina through what they call the rat lines. You can get a book on that called The Vatican Rat Lines. Get that book. There's another book you can get called One Nation Under Blackmail. Get that book. There's another book you can get called The Economic Hitman. Okay? All of this goes back to Project Stargate. I'm just bringing you through the cliff notes, okay? So once these niggas get all of this money, right? They get all of this funding, right? After World War II, they got all this together. But the thing is, OSS was made for foreign intelligence. So it's there to work with foreign intelligence. Yes, Whitney Webb. Check anything that she do. Check her shit out. Um, they get the money, but they only have jurisdiction to do foreign shit. They don't have jurisdiction on American soil. So technically, legally, the CIA has no jurisdiction on American soil. That's what you need to understand first and foremost. So when you read about the CIA working with political hits, working with Mossad agents in the JFK data dump they dropped on y'all and all of that, all of these people that you see are operatives. Jack Ruby was a Mossad operative. What's his name? Oswald was trained by Russian communist Jewish operatives. What's his name? The dude who owned the depository building, right? Operative. Happened to be a Jewish gentleman. Zapruder. Remember the dude Zapruder? The Zapruder film? Remember you been hearing about that shit for the whole world? Guess what nationality Mr. Zapruder is? You understand? The whole thing, bro. The whole thing was orchestrated by members of the Mossad, members of the Giancana crime family, members of the Central Intelligence Agency, and members of the Dallas Police Department through the Masonic lodge that invited him to speak in Daly Plaza that day. So all that shit we seen in the JFK movie, now all you got to do is stop. You can look at the Russian angle, the commie angle, but that's the cover. Remember, what is the motto for the Mossad? The motto for the Mossad is war by deception. So the way to do that is to get who benefited from all of this destruction in the Middle East. You already know. So because that they couldn't do it themselves, they had to use people from over here to do it. And the only way to get them people to do it was to long term slide them up in. And every so often they get caught. That's what the McCarthy thing was about. That's what all that. Every so often they would get caught. But because of the relationship with Yale, through Skull and Bones and all of that shit, and they basically ran it through the Catholics and the homosexuals in CIA, they were able to keep it moving. And so once they did that, it all came into a head. That head became what they call the Bay of Pigs. Bay of Pigs went south because their puppet that they created, aka Comandante Castro, wound up buying it. Once he bought it, that was it. He decided he was going to play the role for real. He did. You understand? Got an Argentine, got a nigga from Argentina who I told you was in Argentina. Nazis, right? But this nigga up, boom, Che Guevara. Now he becomes a dude. Now they get a half Nazi nigga, a pro-revolutionary, and send him over to Angola, Africa, to then radicalize all them niggas, spy on them niggas, and get all them niggas right. That's why him and Che split up, right? And now what did they do in our lifetime? They done made Che Guevara a hero, right? Right? Because why? Because he was funded by the people who fund communism. Who funds communism? Exactly. Exactly. It's not who you think it is. It's the communism. The only true communists I think left in the world, really, the real communists, Russians. Chinese communism, that's different. So don't think that them niggas is cool just because they all communists together. Nah, they don't. They got a different way. The full blown crazy draconian communists in the world, North Korea. Them niggas, them niggas is living in 1958, bro. I tell you, no lie. They don't have nothing. They think when you think, oh, you're crazy because you think the earth is flat. Them niggas, they think Kim Jong-il made the damn sun. This is how he got them niggas in the Pavlov shit. So all of that gets funded. They wind up saying, okay, World War thing happened. They dropped the nuclear bomb, harnessed all of the information out of the explosion, right? And then divvied it up amongst themselves, brought that shit back over here, pushed Japan back at least 20 to 30 years, pushed them back, right? About 20, 30 years. And then China, they knew that Mao Zedong was crazy, and he basically did their work for them. He killed over 53 million of his own people, right? And what did he do? He got the young ones that didn't know shit to read his little stupid red book, and then all these niggas went out and informed and killed and ritually killed their parents. You know what I'm saying? But here's the irony. The irony is in Vietnam, Chiang Kai-shek, he came up under Marcus Garvey. He was a Garveyite. He learned black nationalism and all of that shit as a Garveyite and seen himself as a descendant of the original people of Vietnam, who were the Nagas, who were connected to the old Moorish Empire. And then took that and led Vietnam to victory over the United States. Think about that. And then what happened? The Chinese niggas went against him, tried to cut his throat, to sell out niggas, and then they had to leave there and then set up Taiwan. So the Republic of China is actually the Taiwanese nationals in Taiwan, but they can't call it that. So the corporate is the People's Republic of China. See what I'm saying? See the difference? So They don't have any money, CIA, to start their first mission, which is to overthrow a government. They don't have no money. So what they got to do? They got to go get money. So who do they go to? They go to the people who they know who got money. Who's that? Everybody on Wall Street. Who's that? All of the firms that's owned by banks. Who's that? The same niggas I keep telling you about. Rockefeller, Warburg, Carnegie. See what I'm saying? These are the first niggas funding these niggas. You understand? And this is 100 and some odd years after they've took over from the reset. You understand? This is after. You understand? Yes, brother Jelani, excellent classic movie. One of the only things Robert De Niro, in terms of his directorial debut, did right. Get the movie The Good Shepherd. Lays it all out for you. The homosexual rituals, the coffin, the mud, the defecation, the murder, it's all in there. The knighting, MI6, it's all there. So that's what they do. They take that money and then they're successful. And then they follow suit and destabilize over 120 governments in over 756 years, leading to millions of people dead. All that shit that happened in Argentina in with Allende and Pinochet and all that's them. That's all them. And how do they do it? Because they started to then take that money and invest it into the occult side of shit. And that's when they start getting into it because of Jack Parsons. Because Jack Parsons did the so-called, allegedly did the Babylon working ritual on the USS Eldridge with him and Parsons. And they brought forth the Babylon working by trying to manifest the whore out of nothing. Remember, this is just the energy they want. They want to manifest the harlot of Babylon in reality. So how do we do that? We got to go and do some sort of satanic rituals to manifest that. And that's what he did, or that's what they did. So much so that after that happened, about a week or 2 days later, he's dead. He's blown up in his rocket propulsion lab. His understudy, L. Ron Hubbard, then leaves because he's wanted by the feds, and then he resurfaces and as the head of the Church of Scientology. So this is not everything I'm telling you. None of this is fiction. This is all shit that happened. You understand? Like, this is what shaped our reality. My little reality in Brooklyn was shaped by all of that. Because what that did was that trickled down into the programs that these Nazis brought over here in the form of things like kindergarten, which comes from the old Prussian, German, dumbed down, anti-democracy, anti-republican form of free thought teaching to give to children to make sure that they never rise up against the aristocracy. Today they'll call it critical race theory. See what I'm saying? Or they'll call it new math. Anything that makes it more difficult for you to learn and retain things, that is what is going to be mainstream for you. You understand? Because this is where it's coming from. So I'm showing you in real time how you were affected by these goddamn maniacs. And then all these niggas went into jobs, into government, into finance, into whatever else. And remember, their religion, right, is to be possessed by as many demons as possible. Because the more demons is inside of you, the more you can channel and the more you give space for them to give you the power you need. That's their ultimate goal. So all of the serial killers, all of the rapists, all of that, that's what FBI was set up for, to keep track of all of them niggas. That's why they make TV shows like Mind Hunter and Mind of a Killer and all of that, because their job was to chart all of the kids of these niggas who were out here murdering and killing based upon all the Nazi rituals, satanic shit that they was raised up with, to try to put demons in them so that way they would be more successful and they could get more knowledge on how to make shit like Velcro. You understand? This is what you're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. It's not a joke. It's not this. How do you revolt? How do you revolt against that? How do you boycott that? How do we picket this? How do we, you understand? There's no schools teaching this. They don't want you to know none of this shit. They're retracting all of this information, and they should, because it's not up to them to teach everybody this shit. We supposed to have known this. My dad was supposed to have told me this. His dad was supposed to have told him, but he was over in Vietnam getting his ass shot off. You understand? He going through depression because after he came back, didn't know how to relate to his family. Now he can't be with his son. He can't be with his daughter. You see what I'm saying? So all of this culminates, like I said, in different ways for them to obtain information, which then wound up becoming part of what became Project Stargate, which is a derivative of MK Ultra, which was a derivative of all the stuff that happened in Montauk that was listed first in the modern populace by people like Preston Nichols and Peter Moon and them, who themselves was probably down with who themselves were experiments in the program, as everybody that lived in Montauk between the years of 1945 when they first commissioned the base, and when it was decommissioned in, I believe, 70s or some shit. But don't think they still ain't using it. But you could go right now if you wanted to. You could go right up there to Montauk Point and go into the Army base and see the ruins and shit. It's right there right now. Brother Azazel Bay, blessed the dead, he was one of the few people to be able to speak to Al Bielek on the regular. And Al Bielek was one of the first niggas, one of the first white niggas that was on the whole program. He was on the USS Eldridge, as he says, and was witness to all of this time manipulation stuff. But it didn't start up as time manipulations. It started off as them trying to create invisibility cloaks, and then it wound up phasing through space time. And then once it reemerged 30 years from where it literally was in the Bay of Philadelphia. And then when it reemerged, they said niggas was fused to the ship. And then the ones that wasn't, yes, the Philadelphia experiment. And then the ones that wasn't, every so often they would start smoldering. Right? Like, and then if you let them keep going without doing nothing, they would actually burn like spontaneously combust. But they found if they could find black people and the black people put their hands on them, it would stop the smoldering, because the melanin absorbed the radiation out of these niggas. That's how deep our shit is, B. That venom shit, all that shit is real. All that shit is real. That's your melanin that does all of this. Your melanin is funding computer chips. Your melanin is running quantum computers. Your melanin is inside of goddamn PS5. It's everywhere. So once Project Stargate was established, they were able to start to the remote view. And then once they started remote viewing, they started finding all types of shit. So allegedly one of the things they found was this. The target is a container. This container has another container inside of it. The target is fashioned out of wood, gold, and silver. The target is similar to that shape of a coffin decorated with seraphim. The target is located somewhere in the Middle East, and the language spoken by the individual seems to be Arabic. Visuals surrounding the buildings include presence of mosque-type domes. Individuals in the area were clothed in virtually all white and had black hair and dark eyes. One figure I honed in on wore a mustache. The target is hidden underground, dark and wet, with all aspects of the location of the target. The purpose of the target is to bring a people together. It has something to do with the ceremony, memory, homage, the resurrection. There is an aspect of spirituality, information, lessons, and historical knowledge far beyond what we know. The target is protected by entities. See page 14. And can only be opened now by those who are authorized to do it. So this container will not and cannot be opened until the time it is deemed correct. Once it is time to open a container, the mechanics of the lock system will be found to be fairly simple. Individuals opening the container by prying or striking are destroyed by the container's protectors, the use of a power unknown to us. This remote viewer came across the Ark of the Covenant. You understand? So they can't tell you what you're looking for. They got to give you prompts. What does that sound like? It sounds like AI, right? You got to give the AI prompts. You can't say exactly what it is. You got to give it prompts to be able to learn how you're understanding. So what are they showing you? That the AI is based on you. It's you. It may be aspects of us. Yeah, it's demons. Yeah, it's otherworldly entities and all of that. But again, how do you know? What we do know is that AIs lie. We know that for a fact. So anybody that trusts an AI is what? A liar, right? They got to be. You can't trust it. You could deal with it. You can use it. You like money, but do you trust money? No. No, you don't trust money. You accumulate money. You get money, right? You attain money. You hoard money. You steal money. You like money. Some people love money. But regards to what your thing about it is, the money itself don't change. It can't, because it's only made to do one thing: get people to focus on it. So this now is popped up. Why? Because they are telling you the other day that they found the golden heifer. They got the golden heifers where? From Texas. You got the golden heifers from Texas. And then you're going to bring them over there and somehow get control of the Dome of the Rock Mosque away from the Muslims. And then you're going to tear that down. And then you're going to rebuild the temple in it. That's what you think y'all going to do? For what? The real Jerusalem over here. How? You know how you know the real Jerusalem's over here? Because they got the cows from over here. Why not use cows from Israel? You can't grow no golden heifers, no red heifers over there. Yes, indeed, Jermaine. You could just hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com. After joint, we could set something up and build on it. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, why ain't y'all using shit from over there to do this? Why y'all always trying to come over here to do it? Because, Morse, this is where it's at. This is where everybody's come to be at. And they've been trying to downplay it so they could come over here and get all the benefits of shit that was left for us. This is not because I believe this is what it is. This is what it's always been since the invasion started. And when the invasion started, right? There was no Cherokees. There was no Choctaw. These things didn't exist. What existed, again, were the Tasalagi, the Mantaka, the Abenaki, you understand? And all of those, the Anasazi, all of these are Moorish names. When it came here, they said they made the treaties with who? The Moors. Not nobody else. That's who the first treaty, and who did they make the treaty with? The king. So it means so you mean to tell me the king allowed some savages to tell him where he could set up shop at and all of that, and actually follow through with the obligation and the debt for him? No. So we had a centralized government already, like we always did, like we always have had. It's just that we haven't been in charge of it because we have had to create deals and circumstances that allow these people to maintain while we regather ourselves. But we can never regather ourselves up because every 25 years, some new shit pop off and then another branch of us break off. And now they trying to work with them against the rest of us. Everybody done it. The Siberian Native Americans done it. They hustle is up. The West Indians done it. They hustle is up. The Africans done it. They hustle us up. Everybody been impersonating us. They've impersonated us to such a degree that they are acting in ways that we never acted. And now we're following their parody of us as if that is how we really act. You understand? So don't talk to me about like the new shit. I just found out. I was on thing the other day, and one of the most illest Black Power, Black Panther niggas, whatever. He told me in the response, talking about he an advocate and he trusts the trans movement. Like I didn't know that the Black Power movement and they and the trans thing really merged that. Where you got real extra pro Black dudes that's publicly advocating as if that is somehow part of our direct struggle. That's wild to me. So then I posted all of this information as to my point as to, well, if you think that that's a way to, allying yourself and these are your allies, you basically allying with the same white supremacists that you say that you against. Because all of these organizations, from the Tide Foundation to the Pritzker Fund and all of that, is funded by white males who also happen to be Jewish. You know what I'm saying? So then I post all of that, right? Then he was like, oh, well, that's basically just from an article, this, that. Then I post a whole nother thing with references. Nothing. That's how I know, bro. So again, I don't take none of these niggas seriously with the shit they be saying. Because time is the only teacher that kills all of its students, bro. So at some point, no matter what shit you want, it's gonna come out. So the best thing to do is to purge yourself of the parasites yourself. Like on the screen, I'm showing you this representation of of the grandeur that we as Moors have always represented. You know what I mean? In whatever um, epoch of time we're in, and in this epoch of time, we are inundated with all of these nations that have now reached the end of their time. They can't occupy anything anymore. You understand? They can't. So that means the original war, the original impetus of the war that came from the dumb diverses when they threatened all of us, after the end of the millennial reign, after all of the kingdoms had been absorbed, after now the Moors were in fraction and now scattered across the world and shit, and before the word could get to all the other kingdoms that had been disenfranchised, that this had actually happened, they're now dealing with it. We're now dealing with it. And it became such a problem that, like I said, after a while, niggas got tired of fighting. Niggas actually forgot who they was fighting because the enemy kept changing. You know what I'm saying? And then the enemy went from changing to looking like you to looking like somebody totally different. One year they come, it's all melanated people in the uniforms fighting against you, fight them off. 2 years later, 3 years later, they come back. It's now woodwolves people, white people in the uniforms. Like, what the hell are these niggas? Where did these niggas come from? But they got the same uniforms on. So at least you know who they the enemy. Then the next thing you know, they come in and now they dressing exactly like you. It's a mix now. The white ones and the black ones and the Siberian ones and the German ones and the Belgian ones and the French ones. They all coming at you at different points. It's what they refer to in the Clock of Destiny as the 369 years of intermittent conflict. That part of the story is also spoken about in the Book of Mormon, believe it or not. Isn't that crazy? We've been fighting these niggas off. The elder, I saw a clip where the elder broke it down, but I'm saying it's even longer because it was 369 years of intermittent conflict. In when was Clock of Destiny done? In the 20s? Shit, who knows what it is now? See, this is all the attacks written about in the Bible as well as the Book of Mormon and all other shit. right? When Hagar, the son of Shituga, the land of desolation. See, that's when they dropped the bombs and shit in Judah, right? The land of Zal, right? Which is Granada, right? All of this. Mulek, right? The Olmec. See how has connected all up and down. This was happening. We was invaded. That's why they was able to set up all of the territories the way that they did. All of those cowboy movies where you see they had Indian scouts working with the white people. That's just them. And unfortunately, they were in both sides of our family was doing it. When they talk to you about the Wilmington race riots, that was the coup d'etat. That's when it happened, bro. We have evidence. But regardless to whether that happened or not, we still had jurisdiction over the land. And that's what they don't want you to pay attention to. The jurisdiction over the land can only go to those who are always the stewards, and it was not the Cherokees. I proved that last week. It wasn't them, because they were the ones who said that they came in and ran and killed the mound builders. The only people who were referred to as the mound builders in law, was who? The Washita Moors, who were recognized by the United Nations as the oldest indigenous nation in the world, due to their genetic connection or progenitorship of all of the other nations in the world. I'm gonna show and prove that why that's true. Ain't nobody here older than us. White man added them 1,000 years to it, created a history, made movies, and now white people on YouTube is out here acting like they were the ones that was here in the ancient times and all of that. It's not true. It's not true. Greeks, same shit. It's all an illusion, especially if they telling us what it is. It's not true. They had to find a way to put themselves in history. So they added 1,000 years to their calendar, subtracted those 1,000 years from our calendar, right? And then along with the predicted universal amnesic or disconnect from the Akashic records that we had through that time period, that's when we became the most physical and the most almost barbaric. That was the time of the Barbary Wars. There's no such thing as Aztecs. Aztecs don't exist. That's just a word that they use because they didn't want to keep using Maya. They didn't want to keep using Olmec. Even Olmec is even that. These people were the G Amaru, right? So these are the people that we again are descended from, as well as those that ran them off. We got all of that in us. That's why we so conflicted. That's why we be so quick to off one another, because we never resolved any of these internal genetic conflicts. We haven't had a chance because we've always been trying to integrate. This is why these niggas try to get us to integrate with somebody else. Imagine running a race and then right when you're about to get some water, the nigga grabs the water and say, okay, run another 100 miles. And then you run 100 miles, and right when you're about to get to that 100 miles, okay, run another 100, you get the water. This is what you've been doing by people who look just like you, that's been taught to tell you the opposite. So this is not to say that people from Canada or the West Indies or whatever are not our brothers and sisters, right? Direct genetic, right? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that culturally, we here in the mainland were the ones that helped dictate what happened throughout the rest of the hemisphere. That's what I'm saying. If that was not so, then we wouldn't see our culture reflected back to us by so many different people from all the different parts of the world. But then them same people will say that we don't got no damn culture. You see how they do you? But then them same people, they never go tell the Jamaicans, go back to Africa, right? Because they tried. And you know what happened? They kicked them out. Go to a real roster and talk to him for real about how it was when they first tried to go back to Ethiopia and as descendants and as followers of Selassie as God, what they had to go through. Ask what the so-called Black Hebrew Israelites is going through right now in Israel with all of this bullshit. They're kicking them out. They're kicking all of them out.
because they know that they're not from there. Y'all from here. This is where everything pops, bro. I'm sorry. Look at the map. So when they talk to you about the Ottomans, right? You always thinking they talking about the Ottomans in Turkey and all this other type of shit. But I told you Turkey is Tuscarora. That's North Carolina. Ottoman, right? In its original context, before Osman Ali Bey, right, was actually the Ottomangian, right? Who were connected to all of the so-called Maya, who were the progenitors of also who, the so-called Creek and Yamasee, right? Who then went to war with who? The Northern Creek, right? Which then forced them to be forced into a conflict, which then pushed them down into where I am now in Andalus, and they collectively created a new nation called the Seminole, aka the Seminole, who then fought in wars against all of these other foreign niggas coming over here to try to put us in bondage. Because this war that we've been fighting has been happening since 492. Yes, the Olmecs used to trade with the Zia, with the Zia over there as well. That's why you find artifacts with them with the similar writings and things like that. So again, the coup d'etat already happened. What you're seeing now is the repatriation. You got a whole nother phase in where by the time this nigga is done, none of this aspect of what you see as a democratic form of government is going to exist. They're probably never going to be able to get a Democrat elected again. The way he gonna freak it, and that's what they're fighting against. But hey, they did it to themselves. But you got to look at all of them sideways until you start seeing somebody go to jail. Great, we got y'all niggas was paying $15 million for toenail clippings for Afghanis. Y'all niggas was paying for Kotex pads for nuns in Italy. Like these things was doing crazy shit. So y'all know that it was theft. Y'all know it was money laundering. Y'all know that, and y'all know who did it. So who's going to jail? Cash. What's up, Danny? Like, what y'all niggas doing? Well, I'm ready to see it. Where's the tribunals? Where's the perp walks for all these niggas? You already know who stole the money. The niggas who stole the money is the same niggas trying to stop you from stopping the money. So you already know. You already got them on fraud. You already got all of that. So if it don't happen, what it says to me is y'all niggas on the tape. You trying to leave Israel out of it. Cool. Just say that. I feel like if you just say that that's what it is, then that'd be it. You know what I'm saying? So look, so again, when these niggas say, "Oh, America was never this," and the Republic and all of this came together, no, 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 all of that was dead. Here's the evidence. Okay, this is from the papers of William Woods Holden. Right? Look what he says. This was the surrender letter of the Republican form of government in North Carolina, surrendering to the illegal military government that was established right through committee and not thing. Sir, yesterday morning I was verbally notified by Chief Justice Pearson that in the obedience to the telegram, General Canby, he would day at 10 o'clock administer you the oaths required preliminary to your entering upon discharge and duties of the civil governor of the state. See, that's the provisional governor. That's also equivalent to what's called the provost marshal or occupational governor, like Pontius Pilate, right? Also referred to in ancient Macedonian text as a satrap. Okay, chief governor of the state, and that therefore you would demand possession of my office. I intimated to the judge my opinion that such proceeding was premature, even under the Reconstruction legislation of Congress. See? Anytime you hear Reconstruction, think reset. When you think Reconstruction, reset, think the orphan trains, the Cabbage Patch Kids, the burning down of the cities, the destruction of the infrastructure, the burying of the cities, the deluge of the floods, the New Madrid earthquake. All of this shit is happening at this time. Okay, it's still going on. This has been happening since 1812. At this part. to facilitate the organization of a new state government. See that? To facilitate the organization of the new state governments. The following appointments are made: to be governor, North Carolina, W.W. Holden; governor-elect, Vincent Worth, removed. See that? To be lieutenant governor, North Carolina, Todd Caldwell, lieutenant governor-elect, to fill the original vacancy, to take effect when? July 1st, 1868. See? Right after the Civil War, which again was the Grand War, part of the Grand War against the Moors. Again, the northern Masonic jurisdiction against the southern Masonic jurisdictions. On the meeting of the General Assembly of North Carolina, I do not recognize, this is the real Republican governor, I do not recognize the validity of the late election under which you and those cooperating with you claim to be invested with the civil government of the state. You have no evidence of your election save the certificate of a Major General of the United States Army. The United States Army is the District of Columbia Army, which is the new incorporated Roman Army, which is the so-called these United States Army, meaning that it's the military wing of these United States, which is United States, Vatican, London City. I regard all of you as, in effect, appointees of a military power of the United States, and not as deriving your powers from the consent of those you claim to govern. Knowing, however, that you are backed by the military force here, which I could not resist if I would, I do not deem it necessary to offer futile opposition, but to vacate the office without the ceremony of actual eviction, offering no further opportunity than this, my protest. I would submit to actual expulsion in order to bring before the Supreme Court of the United States the question as to constitutionality of the legislation under which you claim the right and governor of the state. You see that? What you are witnessing or hearing or seeing is the corporate statutory fake bullshit zombie corporation now infringing itself on the divine land, which is connected to the republic, which was under the empire. You see what I'm saying? Of the old Moorish Empire, which is now collapsing. If the past action of that tribunal furnished any hope of a speedy trial, I surrender the office to you under what I deem military duress, without stopping, as the occasion would well justify, to comment upon the single coincidence that the present state government is surrendered, as without legality, to him whose own official sanction but 3 years ago declared it valid. Woo, this nigga smoked that nigga. On his way out the door. To talk to the provost marshal, you gotta first find out who that is. I think you're supposed to go through the Army Corps of Civil Engineers. I'm not sure, but there's a manual on my app called the manual, the law manual for belligerent occupation. It gets into all of that, exactly how to do it. Right? So right here, we just showed and proved, and then this was never undone. Every president comes in and re-signs the order to keep the corporation at the forefront by keeping the emergency going. That allows them to do this colorable bullshit that they've been doing. So from this led to this. Their own hot-headedness. Senator Benjamin R. Pitchfork Ben Tillman justifies violence against the Southern blacks. Didn't I say it was the North and the South, right? And this March 23rd, right after New Year, the speech before U.S. Senate Senator Benjamin R. Pitchfork Ben Tillman of South Carolina defended the actions of his white constituents who had murdered several black citizens of his home state. Tillman blamed the violence on the hot-headedness of the Southern blacks and of the misguided efforts of the Republicans, who were also black, during the Reconstruction era after Civil War. They want to put white necks under black heels. He also defended violence against black men, claiming that the Southern whites will not submit to a black man gratifying his lust on our wives and daughters without lynching him. and an evocation of the deeply sexualized racist fantasies of most Southern whites. Yes. But what it shows is that the people who were running the government that these niggas took over were melanated, i.e., Moorish people, especially out of South Carolina. They were the ones who were running the government. See? We were sorry we had the necessity forced upon us, but we could not help it. And as white men, we are not sorry for it, and we do not propose to apologize for anything we have done in connection with it. We took the government away from them in 1876. What else you need to know? Where the Sundry Free Moors Act was done? South Carolina, right? Oh, okay. So y'all can read this, the rest of it for yourself. You can download this or hit me up. I'll send you a PDF copy of it. And again, this is proving that the present government now that you see falling before you was already taken from you officially in 1876. How come no so-called black people, black historians, black Panthers, whoever is telling us this? Why they only tell you about Black Wall Street? Tell you niggas down with it, bro. Anybody have any questions? So that's how they did it. They took all of that money. Another book you can get is a book called How Wall Street Created a Nation. Since they talk about the Panama Canal, get that book. Tell you all about it, how it was dreamed up in a boardroom. There was no Panama, all of that. All of that was Spanish territory. And the Spanish they talking about is Moors. That's why the Cubanos and the Panamanians speak the best Spanish out of everybody. Out of everybody. Anybody have any questions? Remember what Orwell said, yo. That's why I want to take 1984 out the libraries. The original introduction was this. They took this out of the copies that's out now. Every record has been destroyed or falsified. Every book rewritten. Every picture has been repainted. Every statue and street building has been renamed. Every date has been altered. And the process of continuing day by day and minute by minute, history has stopped. Nothing exists except the endless present in which the party is always right. So again, he proven everything that we talked about tonight. Everything that you think these niggas created, you created. People who look like you, people who was always here like you. You're the only 100% human because according to their DNA is 90% human and 5% something else, whether that's Denisovian, whether that's rhesus monkey, whether that's Neanderthal, whatever it is, it's not human. So therefore, they can't do that. So they had to create a new human species that identified with them, and they had to give them a history to match it. So guess who lucked out? guess who became the father to make that happen? That's why you're the only people on earth that everybody in the world copy, everybody in the world envy, everybody in the world want to be, but nobody in the world want to be so much that they get what they know that they've given us, which is a bunch of bullshit. You know what I mean? We will never be able to be taken out of here. So the more we withstand, the less they can endure. Like I said, forgot about the fezzes. Then one day we woke up, we just started shaping our head in the shape of it. What does that tell you? In Dune, there was a scene when Muad'Dib said something about the still suit, and he asked, "Well, who taught you how to put that shit on?" He said, "Oh, it just seemed like the right way." And then the character says, "He will know his ways as if he was born to them." That's all. That's you. That's us, B.
As if they were his own.
As if they were his own. Exactly. That's us, B. No, nobody. Let these niggas do whatever they gonna do, bro. Just don't be out there when they doing it. The prophet said, I'm gonna leave these niggas around long enough to show you niggas how to run a government. That time is now. And he's getting rid of it all. He's getting rid of the shit that say African American. He's getting rid of the shit that say black. Because that's not who you are, dummy. You were never any of that. None of that had anything to do with you. You just believed it. Just like you believe you're your body. You believe, oh, I die. I'm a, you know. No, you don't know. You only know what these niggas tell you. You believe that you are in a spinning ball and that niggas could leave the ball while it's spinning, right? And then come back and land in the same place that the ball is. You know what that's like? That's like me and you driving full speed down the highway. You in one car, me in the other car, and then I'm throwing the basketball back and forth between each other. You think that's gonna work? No. No, but they're gonna tell you this. Why? Because they know that they made you stupid. They made us stupid. Our parents knew enough, but they were still minors. They didn't know. They didn't know enough to stop. They just knew enough to what they could deal with. And that's all we can ask for, bro. So again, Moors, stop investing time in this shit that has nothing to do with you, bro. Let this nigga, let it all happen. Just let it happen. But prepare, you know what I mean, for what you got. Because the convergence is what they call in the apocalypse, that's already happened. All that shit already happened. Yeshua already came. We already reigned. So this shit gotta go so we can reign again. Shake everybody off, and then it's just gonna be a whole new thing. You know what I'm saying? But until then, don't get caught up. Understand that this swastika, this Nazi thing, what he is doing, or people like him, I think is doing. This is just my opinion. I think that he's desensitizing these Gen Z niggas and our generations who were force fed the Holocaust, who were force fed Jewish life above everybody else's life and anything. Like I witnessed it in real life. I grew up in Crown Heights with the Gavin Cato shit. I remember that shit. I remember the riots. I remember the police beatings. I remember all that shit. But I also remember a lot of that shit was unnecessary. Because the nigga still got away and wound up in Israel and probably still living there to this day. But where's Gavin Cato family at? Nobody know. See what I'm saying? And who was out there with all of that shit stirring it up? Al Sharpton, right? All of the same niggas that's now got TV shows. So definitely please check out www.aseertheducateers.com. If you haven't already, please do. Recommend it to a friend if possible. Definitely check out ADOT app on the Apple Store, Google Play. I'm about to throw some new stuff up there as well. Thanks for everybody that's been supporting it and spreading the word, as well as everybody that's been renewing their subscriptions as well. Thank you. Trying to keep it fresh for you. Yeah, also definitely can you check out CordobaOrganics.com, of course. Queen's been doing great work helping heal Moors for past a decade now. You know what I mean? So that's real work. And I've seen many other horrible products come and go. You know what I mean? That's destroying, killing our people. Meanwhile, you know, I've been seeing her bat 1,000. So honest to her for that great work and helping our people maintain their melanin tone. Because we don't do it, who gonna do it? Beyonce? Beyonce? That's who gonna make skin products for you? That's free as shit. The Koreans, they gonna do it? I doubt it, seriously. So no, definitely do that. So if you haven't, please check it out. Also, if you can check out www.darsco418.com and get your copy of the books. Also, people who've ordered, thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it. It just took a while. The company had a backlog or whatever, so they just sent me a hit that they're being delivered. So inshallah this week first, second week of April, everybody should get their joints. So definitely please support the book, because the other ones I got coming out is going to be fire too. So I definitely appreciate the support. You know, anybody else have any other questions? Yeah, definitely check out Dark School 418. Here they go. If you haven't already, get your copy. World's Most Dangerous Comic Book Novel. Yeah, it's definitely like an art piece too. You know, I also have a book that I'm doing directly on the Moorish Empire specifically, and the Sultanate that we have been working and building on so diligently all these years. So please look out for that. Anyone have any other questions before we tune out? Thank you guys. So yeah, so look up those books that I spoke about. Look into the history, the historical chronological thing that I laid out for everybody, because it's right on time. You know what I mean? Again, I've been studying this for years. I had the paperclip stuff and all of the other stuff. Like I said, Project Stargate, Project MK Ultra, Project Mongoose, Project Operation Gladio, Mockingbird. All of these programs are still running right now. So now is the time for us to basically disconnect, find out what is what, who is who, and work accordingly. Establish our own communal organizations and stuff outside of the internet. Go back to analog type of communication, and we'll be good. Because, like I said, nowadays everybody's showing everything, so everybody gonna know how to do something. So do the best. 'Cause that's all you can do. All right, nobles. Long live the empire. Peace. Also, anybody want to hit me up? Hit me up at houseofella@hotmail.com. Anybody want to donate? You can send it to Cash App, money sign, capital DS 418, or Cash App DV880. Both of your Cash App, or through PayPal to ducateers@gmail.com. So thank you guys. I appreciate you.